Hey, welcome to our today's class on behalf of our online lifelong study circle. It's a weekly class we arrange every Sunday, around 45 minutes to 60 minutes. We do a lot of online courses, book studies, and content is related to life coaching in terms of background of the life coaching is spiritual life coaching and the personal development. Lot of great insights, researches, books, and authors I bring in this class as well. So, that's why we are here today. So from last couple of weeks, I am studying in this class the important topic of consciousness. And the consciousness is a topic which is very influential, very transformative in life, and it directly related with self-help. It directly related with personal development, psychology, philosophy, and more important, spirituality as well. So if we are able to understand what is this notion of consciousness and how it evolves, and more important, what are the levels of consciousness and how it has a relevance with my practical current life, and then we can change our life. So in a very quick, in few seconds, these are some of the topics which we covered so far in last 7 to 8 weeks or even more. We did learn how the evolution of consciousness happened, and especially when we as a human being were evolved with consciousness, and it has very diverse uh, knowledge and content we did learn in connection with question answers as well. The topics and most of the content I took from that book, The Map of Consciousness Explained by Dr. David R. Hawkins. He was American influential spiritual leader and also very well practitioner psychiatrist as well. So that's why this content and this book and this class is so important, because the most of the content are from taken on behalf of science and at the same time psychology, and with the background and paradigms of uh, spirituality as well. So let's come for the today's class is about is we did learn last week about the lowest level of the consciousness which we live, or 90% people of the world is living with shame. Okay, and so we basically nowadays are learning levels of consciousness, and that is related with this chart. If you see on your screen, um, everybody can see. Okay, so this is the chart, this is a map, this is a table where we can evaluate and we can self-judge that where we are standing, where we are located. So the lowest level of our life, the lowest level of uh, our conscious level is from here, shame. Okay, and the next higher level is guilt, and then apathy, then grief, then fear. And once we are going towards up, quality of life start to improve. Quality and the state of mind, mindset of ourselves start to transform. And when we reach at point of courage, which has frequency of 200, if you see my cursor of the mouse, affirm, then from here you just at the point where you are going to change your life by 360-degree. And then we start to upgrade our life to neutrality. We accepting the truth. We start to reasoning, and then we become packet and bundle of love. Then we start to enjoy our life in a truly and very happy with happiness. Then we achieve peace, and then eventually we living and we will live enlightened life, a life which we are designed for when you were born, and when everyone born, and then later our parents, our teachers, our society, our everything within the life which we see, which we experience, they start to nurturing us in some sort of bad manner, and we inculcate very poor quality of life within ourselves, and we never went towards the higher states of our consciousness, the higher and quality of our life. So these are the levels of consciousness. Every week we are studying in a details, in a deeper sense. Last week we did learn about shame, which is the lowest level of our life, because it gives us sense of humiliation. It makes us the feeling that we are failure person. So that we did learn. Today we will learn the next lowest level, which is guilt, and that is a topic for today. And that is a quite famous word and notion we used in our daily life, and we have sort of many guilts in our life. Um, and we know that if I am a man, I may have a guilt of not look after properly my children. I may have a guilt. I did not behave well with my parents. I didn't look after my mom well. I didn't earn money in my previous life, which I should earn. So we're living in a series of guilt, and that guilt is a psychological state in my mind, and that make me depressed, that make me sad, that make me psychotic disorder. We will come across very soon that what are the outcomes of that guilt. And more important, from today, we will learn how we can avoid it, how we need to get rid of this guilt-based life with embarrassed-based feelings in my life. So, and under this guilt-based life, which is the lowest quality of the life, which is the lowest state of consciousness, we do a very silly decision. We make very stupid choices. We become psychotic or psychological patient throughout the life. And if we become very clever, and that cleverness make us to in a denial situation, we start to live a denial of guilty based life, which is another form of psychological condition. Okay, so that's we are going to learn today. Very briefly, the goal of this class is to evaluate my guilt, identify my events of guilt, and more importantly, are these guilt true, or they are based on my own just thought, or they actually do not exist in reality. It is only the condition of my mind. Actually, it never happened, but I thought it is happened because of me. I start to blame myself for something happened. I want, so that's we need to identify in today's class. Okay, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a a psychology specialist, but I'm here just a facilitator, and we all are in a group form. We are learning it. We are trying to understand in a little bit deeper way and help yourself, help myself based. We will come out from that mental condition. Okay. So, according to different dictionary and definition of guilt, if anybody can tell what exactly mean by any person who is in guilty and who have a guilt, what does it mean? Or one of the example you can give. Anybody can? For example, I gave you an example that a man uh, who may have a attitude problem or a poor behavior with the parents, when he became the parent, then he felt that he didn't behave very well with my parents when they deserve a good attitude and good relationship from my side. Then I start to have a guilt. I will call it guilt. And any failure in my life, if I experience, I may directly or indirectly will say it is happening with me because I, did, I didn't serve my parents. Uh, Sorry. So it is happening because I did something wrong. If I am betraying my partner, if I'm betraying my boss, then I start to feel guilty. And anything which will happen badly in my life, I will directly or indirectly associate with that guilt, sometime consciously and sometime unconsciously. So, is that the fair and very brief um, understanding about the guilt? Is that right? Or what do you think? What is guilt mean in your opinion?
Yeah,
Jenny, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Jessica.
oh, I was just gonna say it's a kind of negative feeling where you kind of think you should have done something different.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yes, it
And
is. Um, yeah. Mhm.
you just
Okay. I think your microphone or networking issue, I was not able to listen, but yeah, you are right. It is something we should have feeling of we should have done differently. So let's learn from yeah, okay. So let's start to learn about
different perhaps
yeah,
and think
yeah.
yeah, recently
I think your
be
volume is
very
saying
different. It's like I've hurt someone.
okay. Okay, thank you, thank you. So let's go for what happened when we are in guilt. So before we understanding further, it's saying the unconscious guilt result in psychosomatic disease. And sometimes we tend to do some accident or we have a suicidal behavior when we have a guilt. And what does it mean by psychosomatic disorder? And it is saying that when um, we start to experience or see or that this psychological condition is showing a symptom on my physical body itself. And that thought and feeling uh, is actually appearing on my body, and that is called um, that we are in guilty. But the problem is when we are in guilty and it appears in some sort of symptom in my body, unfortunately, doctors, they cannot know. They do not know what's happening with your body, because when they will do test, the test will come normal. And that condition is called psychosomatic disorder, because it is happening only in my mind here. Okay. But I feel that it is showing through the symptom on my body. Okay. Here is a Oxford Dictionary, the definition of guilty: a feeling of having committed wrong or failed in an obligation. Okay, so that is a very fair and very obvious definition of a guilty. But we are here for some per other advanced definition. Number one, that many people, they go in denial. Okay, and they, when they do not have control on their own guilty wasted life. Okay, throughout the life, they do not want to accept that they have guilty. Okay, it could be myself, it could be anyone. Okay, and that become a very heavy burden on my shoulder, which I don't know what to do. Many people, they have a depression when they have a guilty. Depression is also a sign, and many psychiatrists and psychologists, they think that biggest reason of the depression based life people live is they have guilt driven life. They lived with guilt driven life in some sort of, in addition to many things, but guilt is one of the function. Okay, many people, they are sad when they are in guilty. Okay, they become sad. Okay, and that could be seasonal sad, um, and the environment affect on us more. Like I'm here in London, we have a very long um, winter as well, autumn and winter, and many people start to behave very little awkward, and they feel very sad, and they feel very negatively sometimes, and we call it they are in depression. But it is a seasonal depression because of the environment of the thing. And that many people, many women, housewives, they also experience this. But the location, the root of this issue is also that they have some guilty, and that guilty unconsciously or consciously appear in form of sadness. But it is temporary, remember. Okay, but person does not know when they are sad and why they are sad, because it is also because of some regret, some self-condemnation, because of this thing that start to uh, control you. Okay, many people, they do not have control. Okay, and what they do when they have when they are in guilt, they tend to do addict with some other thing. Okay, they try to busy themselves in some sort of addiction, and that addiction is escape from being in guilt, unconscious unconsciously. Okay, and many people, they start to eat, and they have an eating disorder, and one or two of the big reason is they have some sort of shame and the guilt on the background. That's why they want to fulfill it through craving. Okay, and that's why they eat. They eat uh, like many animals they do, and they keep eating, and they have too much consequences on the body. Okay, have you seen many people when they start to nail biting like this, and many people they start to pluck their hairs and they start to pulling the hairs, or you see some people try to uh, eat not only the nail but also the skin, the finger skin, and they do like this, sometimes this, sometimes this, and that's happen unconsciously. Some start to itching, and that itching actually not the physical itching they do, but they feel that they have a itching and they start to rubbing, and sometimes very I mean um what we call it, they feel that they have some physical disease, and they start to do, but actually they are uh, picking the skin. Okay, and many people they do, if you see here, uh, they start to chewing these walls of the jaws, the mask, and they have too much like wounds inside. Some people they do like when they are have a anxiety, but that anxiety, if it is has a root cause with guilty and shame, they start to eat their lips like so. Consciously or unconsciously, many cultures they have a different behavior. Okay, um, and that's happened. Okay, um, and many people, when they have a guilty, they upgrade their sexual drive uh, 5 to 10 times more what they have normally. Uh, and this sort of sexual gratification, whether a man do, a man or woman does, or a lady does, it has a root cause of guilt. And because they have some pain, some self-blaming feeling inside them, these symptoms they want to hide, and they take um, their sexual drive to overcome this guilt and behavior. Many men they tend to uh, sleep with many women because of this, to avoid the sense of guilt within them. And many women they tend to deceive or live on the bed with many men, also have the sense of guilt and shame on behind that mechanism is going on. So it's a variety of things are going on, okay? That self-blaming, and as a result of they are doing this thing. Usually that is called masochism, this phenomena when you upgrade your sexual feelings and sexual behavior or sexual drive to fulfill the gap caused by shame and guilt. But what happened actually, your shame and guilt become more stronger, and you become more dissatisfied until you start to addict with other addictive substances. such as drugs, such as wine, such as money making, eating disorder. I mean, this tendency is obvious as well. Some culture, they do have guilties on a community level based on their religious and rituals and their belief system, and they want to hit themselves, and they do condemn, and they feel that it should never happen in that past or with their community, and that is guilt-based behavior they do for the name of religion, for the name of uh, their culture or their belief system, what they are following. If you remember, or you may know about, there is a sect in Islam, um, uh, 20% Muslims, they follow that sect we call Shia Muslim. And some of the Shias, they hit their body, they cut their body with chains, with sharp knives, and in the memory of some brutal incident happened 1400 years ago, in the time of some prophets, Muhammad. And because of memory of that big violent incident happened, they start to hit their own body and they do condemn. And that is a name for guilt. Well, when the punishment, so it is they're punishing themselves why this happened. And on an individual level, many people, they tend to suicide because they also wants to give them punish herself, himself, and for some reason. And that's why, because we have a religion and it is well institutionalized in our society, especially in England, we have extremely organized series of church, priests, and the bishops, and the Church of England, it controls the all churches. So, and those churches, they have a department who deals with the guilt of the people as a Christian. And many people, if they have a guilt in their life, they go in the church and they speak and express everything to the priest, and then it's sort of a relief for them. But there is a big problem with the religious people, and they basically refer it to the phenomena of sin. Okay, that sin is happened, and because of that sin you will be punished, and that punished in this world also in form of some diseases, and also when you die you will go into the hell. Okay, and that punishment is everywhere. Okay, this is also because of the guilt, and that guilt is spread across all over the world, from the religion, in Christianity, in Judaism, in Islam. This is very grasped into the communities. Okay, and the priest, imams, and rabbis, and they are well, I mean, make you trap of this guilty based thing. Okay, here the writing which you can see is written by Dr. David Hawkins. Um, it looks like, so let's try to read it. So if I ask Jenny, uh, if you, let's try to read few lines, and then we will be better understanding it as well. So please, if you can read it.
Guilt domination results in a preoccupation with sin, an unforgiving emotional attitude frequently exploited by religious demagogues who use it for coercion and control. Such sin and salvation merchants obsessed with punishment are likely either acting out their own guilt or projecting it onto others.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So they make you obsessed with punishment. Okay. They portray the God will punish you forever. Okay. And because that guilty is so much influential, and when we heard this from our parents or from our teacher who tend to be religious, then this guilty and self-condemnation is look like is within our software, and we cannot get rid of, because it is now part of ourself. Okay, but the reality is it is not. Okay, these all things are social constructed. These are all social constructed. We have been taught this thing because our parents learned this. And how they learn it? Because their parents and their society taught it. And how they do it? Because their previous society, they taught it. So it is coming through generation to generation until some great and courageous person will ask them to stop. Stop. Stop to make me self-blame of something which I never did. Okay? And if I have some guilty, I will not say it guilty. Okay? I will admit it, or I will evaluate it who did it. Okay? For example, a mom who never feed the children very well in their life because of some poor financial condition, she may have a guilty that why she is not enough rich to feed her children like other rich parents they do. And that guilty is actually, it shouldn't be a guilty, isn't it? Because it is not her fault. It is how our societies and different groups have been designed or are designed organically, automatically. Nothing I did myself. If I would be the millionaire mom or millionaire dad, I don't mind to feed my child. But if I am a poor or a struggling parent, I should not feel guilty that I didn't feed my children very well. That guilt idea you basically adopt from the society, and that become your psychotic condition, and you keep feeling in guilty, and that become more stronger as you grow more in your life and make you showing you in your body in terms of some diseases. So that's why you chose it to feel guilt. But in reality, it is your condition of the mind made by your society. In reality, there is no guilty. Okay. If so, most of the guilt-based thought are our self-made thought. Okay. Most of our wrongdoings or are because of how you were trained for that. Okay. And how we can avoid it, there are many things that I will come after few minutes. But so far, what we have learned, it is less just discuss it before we read this paragraph. So I would ask Jessica if you can read it.
I actually can't see the other screen. Let me try and do it this way. Okay.
Okay.
Apologies. Subcultures displaying the aberration of self-flagellation often manifest other endemic forms of cruelty, such as the public ritual killing of humans or animals. Guilt provokes rage, and killing frequently is its expression. Capital punishment is an example of how killing gratifies guilt-ridden populace.
Thank you. A very amazing reading. How our life in our world is located is based on our guilt-based environment we have been provided. So that's, I think, do you have now a fair understanding about the guilt, and or you want to add some more thing, or if you want to discuss here some other dimensions of guilt, then feel free to speak before I go to a solution or to the last section of our today's class.
Well, I think guilt is such a healthy emotion for an initial response when, just the part where it just tells you what's right from wrong, where your conscious mind tells you, wow, I shouldn't have done that. And that's very healthy. But if you use that as, in a positive sense, where you're like, I shouldn't have done that, and then you reflect on it and you don't do it anymore, the next step after guilt is forgiving yourself for doing something that you don't want to do next time. So then you let it go. You let it absolutely go. Walking around, holding on to guilt, letting it cause depression, all those things, that's not healthy. That's unnecessary. It just doesn't make sense to hold on to something that you're already trying to change. But for an initial response, guilt is healthy. We want to know when something's not right, or our lives won't be as prosperous or as healthy or anything else. But forgiveness followed by guilt is important.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very well thought, Jenny. I appreciate it. You point out this dimension as well. It helps me to tell you and reveal the solution of how we can avoid being in a guilt. And one of the things you mentioned just, that guilty is also a healthy emotion, okay? A healthy life level of conscious when if you see on the screen, everyone, we are here when we have a guilt, okay? We do self-blame and we think that some evil are controlling us, or we are evil, or something is doing, okay? But what happened, like Jenny mentioned, if some people, some positive people, or who may have potential to take the negative things into positive situation, then this guilt take you directly here on a green state of consciousness after this courage, and that is sometime reflect on your life when you take guilt as very positive thing, because that make your conscious alive, that make you that you have now understand about certain thing, okay, which you should not do, take as a negative aspect of your life. So you directly jump into the higher state of consciousness, and it starts from courage. You are willingness to accept the truth, and you start to learn more books, listen and watch more great lectures from the influential gurus and authors, and then you start to spread love. So that's how you take your guilt as a positive aspect and then jump into the higher state of thing. And that's very well said, Jenny. However, majority people are not able to identify guilt from their own life because the guilt is settled unconsciously. It has become a psychotic condition of your mind, and you do not have a mental intelligence enough to identify it. If you are not identify it, it means you cannot control it. And if you cannot control it, you cannot take it positive. So our 70 to 80% people, unfortunately, they remain in guilt and shame throughout the life. And that's why they become denial when you do not come out from guilt, or at least you do not come take the guilt as your positive energy, then you stay here for longer, and that you start to deny it, and that turn into another big psychotic condition, and that appears on your body in terms of high blood pressure, um, aggression, addiction, um, disorder within your body, schizophrenia, depression, and it takes to a lot of other things. That's, yes, you're right. Uh, and and also another thing, if we have a guilt or shame-based life, okay, our purpose of life to go to the higher state of consciousness, towards joy, peace, and enlightenment, where we need a high frequency, high positive energy, so that we can feel really serenity, we really feel blissful life, we really become very closer to our God, and where we feel a sense of perfection, um, then we need to do number one, improve our mental intelligence. And mental intelligence is we can enhance by reading more books, by learning and sitting with influential people. And also, we need to do some meditation every day. We need to live healthy physically so that we can produce great emotion in our lives. So yeah, so how, but mainly we need to go step by step from here to higher. So when we will improve our life, the guilt will turn into fear, then into anger, and then we will release anger, and then we become more courageous. We start to accept, give love to reason, and that reason leads to love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. So that's how we can uh, set a goal for our life. So that is a brief and a little bit more detailed understanding about our guilt-based level of consciousness. So if you have any question and thought, let me know, or before we close this class for today. And how do you feel this? You want to add more content for this guilt only? Because the next week we will.
I would
Yeah,
like to add something, Meritib.
yeah.
I think guilt is such an interesting, feeling that people have because it all means something different to everyone. Well, we have a guilt-based society. We have a prison system of, it all ends with, no forgiveness, basically. You may have been, raised in a home where if you did something wrong, it was just magnified and it was so bad. And then you walked around and carried it for a long time because you're like supposed to or whatever. Or, you're in a system in society where if you do something wrong, you're judged forever. And that's by humanity. So it makes it very difficult. And then you carry it too. But then, from a spiritual sense, a higher sense, like what's on the chart, I mean, forgiveness is the key to release of guilt. And, if you're going to continue to do something over and over again, well, of course, no one's going to forgive you. But if you do want to make a change and you do want to forgive yourself, because it starts with forgiving yourself, you're the one walking around with the guilt. Like, I could be feeling guilty all day about something I did, and then you could be sitting at home eating popcorn and watching a movie and laughing it up with your family while I'm sitting at home being guilty, and it's non-productive because it's not doing anything except for eating me alive. So, I mean, basically, in a society where we're taught to never forgive, if you start with yourself on forgiveness and you forgive you, then you can start to forgive others. And then guilt is not really something that you just carry around or really think about. You do something that, that guilt comes up, and then you think, oh, okay, I shouldn't do that. And then you take action, you make a change, and then you don't do that thing anymore. And you just become better and better and better. But we have to forgive other people too. Like, when they ask for us to forgive them, we should forgive them. Don't bring it up, every day, like, you did this, or bring it up next week or next year or next month. When you let it go, you absolutely let it go. And then you don't have really guilt anymore. A non-productive sense, I mean.
Absolutely, you spot on. Absolutely amazing, amazing explanation, and a great knowledge and insight you just mentioned in order to cure our guilt. Absolutely. So
Annie has something too.
yeah, Annie. Yeah, Annie, you want to speak? You can unmute your mic. Okay. Okay, she has a message. Oh, she's saying mic is not working. But she has a message interesting in TMS, tension, mesotis syndrome, finding I'm holding on too much guilt regarding many events in my life, causing physical ailments. My apologies for the delayed question. Thank you. I will look forward to next Sunday meeting. Okay, very well. Very welcome, Annie. Okay, so you are interested in TMS, this tension, myositis syndrome. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. Annie, one thing we just learned in today's class, that many guilt which we have unconsciously settled has a psychosomatic diseases. And what does it mean? Nobody can measure it, nobody can see, but we itself, we see, we experience it, but doctor cannot see it, okay? But we can feel, we think about that we have some diseases, but doctor cannot explain medically. Um, Probably you may have this type of thing as well, but because everyone has a different life, I'm not sure about the best is you can also some contact some therapist who because there are many therapies and methods where you first diagnose what sort of guilt driven level you have, and then you can help yourself to do. But if you follow this table, if you feel that, and you can uh, just learn it, that if you have a guilt-based life, or I have, or anybody can have, is nothing secret now. Everybody, we all are human beings, and we all are not living in a perfect life or perfect world. So everyone have these levels of consciousness. So you can read it in details. You join us every Sunday, and every Sunday you will learn, or you will understand some new level of consciousness. Like there are many levels of consciousness. We will learn, like apathy, grief, fear, desire, which are which are next consecutive level. They all are systematic levels where you go to another level and that from another level to go to another level. If you will concentrate it, I believe by help yourself, you will be able to, or you should be able to overcome yourself a lot of problems as well. Uh, Annie also send a text message. He's saying, I will look at your feelings chart. Another term, tension, mynoreal syndrome. I'm 60 years on Medicare, cannot find any counselor that accept Medicare in insurance. Okay, insurance. Okay, yeah, I would say you can focus with this chart, okay, and if you cannot find any counselor for this syndrome which you have, um, you keep doing it, but you need to strengthen yourself more spiritually, because spirituality and awareness will have and have cure of many syndromes which medical science unable to explain, and medical science has not touched this field as well. However, the spirituality and the study of consciousness help you to come out and get rid of these syndromes, definitely. But stay in touch with your doctors, and keep finding the best and right people for you as well. There is some suggestion and advice from the Jenny as well. Um, Read this book by Dr. Hawkins and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Kavi. Yeah, amazing. That's a great advice and suggestion from Jenny. This book, let me show you this book title. You can buy this book from, here is, that book is called The Map of Consciousness Explained by Dr. David Hawkins. Okay. And this book actually explaining in all details about this chart, okay, this level and quality of life, level of emotions, level of and of course it will take a couple of months to understand each one by one, and by joining our class every Sunday, I believe like it has helped me a lot, and it is continuously helping me, because when I prepare these classes for you, the first it is for me myself, and I can say you where I am going now. My life, myself, my family, my children, all have been transforming incredibly by studying and participating in the Sunday content slowly and with focus, with living in a present life. Uh, like we did focus today, just guilt. Although the guilt is linked with many other emotions as well, but we only focus today on a guilt-based life. Okay, and yeah, yeah. The title of this book is let me write it here. The Map of Consciousness
It's 14 hours.
Explained, okay, by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Okay, you can find it on Amazon. Maybe in 2-3 pounds you can get a cheaper edition as well. But I would prefer you can buy the full edition, which may be $10 or $20 or $15. The good thick book, and keep it with you. We will continue to read this book and amazing things every Sunday. So I hope it may have helped you, Annie. So we will continue next Sunday, the same class with the new next level of consciousness. And you can use the same Zoom link on, I mean, same link. You can come and you can join the class. You can invite your friend and family for this. You can join my YouTube channel as well. My name is Maratib Ali Shah. Maratib Ali Shah. I am, and my family is based in UK, London, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a student of spirituality, philosophy, psychology, and I help many people to improve their life. I also help my life to improve in different dimension. Yeah, and let's keep the ball to roll in this important subject of consciousness, and why I'm teaching it, why I'm facilitating it, because the consciousness subject is the only and ultimate subject which um, help your personal development, your personal health, your mental health, your social health, your all intelligences, your medical assistance if you need. It will broaden your spectrum of your intelligences, and will tell you where you are located in entire universe, and you will start to control your life. Okay, and it is a very comprehensive explanation. You will get know by understanding consciousness. So thank you very much for joining me today. I will see you next Sunday, same time, for next 45 minutes to 60 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meritim. Have a good week, Annie and Jessica.
Thank you, Annie, Jessica, and Jenny. Bye.
Thank you, you too. Bye. Thank you.